greenery is so beautiful, and it doesn't have to be this really complex arrangement. You can just sort of start putting things in and treat it as if that's all that's going in there. I mean, the shape, the movement, everything are all these little elements that you're looking for. Sometimes it's just perfect and it feels done, although it's not done. All right, next thing, what am I going to pick next? So I tend to pick, I'll start to sort of break down the order that I put things in. I do things with greenery first almost 100% of the time. The viburnum, because it does sort of feel like a greenery, I put that in as well because I knew that would help to kind of create my overall shape. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of this amazing delphinium. Now, this is obviously a giant piece, and that whole thing is going to take over. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing similar to what I did with the viburnum, where I'm going to really carefully cut in the middle. You don't want to break any of those little legs off. You just want to cut the stalk. And then, as always, cut your stem at an angle, and you can pop this in. You'll start to notice that everything's like all those little crisscross motions you're making are creating this little sort of cage for the flowers to fit in. And the farther along you go, the tougher it's going to be to sort of get in there. But you'll also start to notice underneath that your stems are now having this really cool crisscross shape, and that's what you're looking for. Now this stem, as heartbreaking as it is, we are going to peel off a bunch of these little babies. And if you want, you can start making that little mini vase that's going to go in your bathroom or wherever, because we hate throwing things away. So that can go there. Now your stem is cleaner and it's ready to go in. All right, that's two. So two pieces, when there's two pieces of something, it can start to kind of feel like rabbit ears a little bit. So I tend to do 3 or 5, and you just kind of generally kind of balance out the shape of the arrangement. If it's a big, strong, bold statement like this delphinium is, I'm not going to put 5 in there because then it'll just be all delphinium and you won't really have space for anything else. So I'm going to grab another piece. Now you'll notice the shape of this one's really different. So I'm going to do the same thing and snip it right there. I'm going to place this guy here. Now that's sort of going to balance out that rabbit ear issue. But with this guy, I love these younger pieces of flowers that aren't fully bloomed out. That's really what makes it feel like it just kind of grew in your garden. And I might sort of do a little overlapping with the piece that I just placed. And then that way you're not creating 4 angles. You've still kind of got 3, but those 2 are kind of clustered together. And then you've also now got this really cool moment here. Anyway, you get the idea. All right, now my stems are starting to get a little tight in there, and I want to be careful because I have some flowers here that I want to use whose stems are a little more delicate. The tulips and the ranunculus. So I want to start thinking about getting those guys in there, because if I wait too long, I'm never going to be able to get them in without the stems breaking. So I'm going to go for my tulips right now because they're kind of yelling at me, and I think they're amazing. These are parrot tulips. They're kind of this really beautiful buttery tone. And the thing about tulips is that they have a tendency to move around in your arrangements. So I like to try and anticipate how they're going to sort of stretch their necks and grow out a little bit. If I put something in straight up this way, it's just going to shoot straight to the moon, and it's going to look a little weird in your arrangement. So I will kind of go for angles off to the side. But with that said, you also want to make sure that they're nicely supported. So you saw this one I just did right there. I'm going to put this one here. And imagine if they do kind of move around. They'll move around whether it's, warm in your home or cold in your home, or just as they start to age, they're going to sort of stretch their necks out a little more. You'll notice that they actually get a little longer the longer they sit around. Pull these like extra leaves off. They're just doing nothing for you, so you don't need them there. And also notice the depths that you're putting things in. We do really beautiful sort of gardeny arrangements at Lila Bello, so we like it feeling not messy, but just sort of a little wild, while still being natural and not overcrowded and not suffocated or anything like that. I'm gonna probably stop at 5 with these tulips because I have so many other things I want to put in here. So again, like, my heart just kind of says, okay, you're finished. It's done. Let's go home. Let's go get a glass of wine now and call it a day. But you're not finished. But you're looking good. And I'm happy with this direction so far. I want to also point out how the stems are looking pretty organized in there as well. And that's what you're going for. All right, I know you guys are dying to see the peonies go in, so I'm going to do the peonies next. And this big giant baby, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Again, pull any leaves off that are not serving your purpose. You don't want to see leaves floating around in your water because it's just going to make your water dirtier faster. All right, so there goes my first placement of my peony. I'm going to pick this guy is a little tighter because you don't want all of them at the same growth rate, because then you don't get to see them actually show off and do what they love to do. We're going to tuck that one in there, and I'm going to do one more. And then, as peonies age, you get these guard petals. They have petals very similar to roses, where they have these sort of outer guard petals that keep them from shattering, and you can pull those off. And on this guy, I kind of want him hanging out right at the base. All right. Are we done yet? Maybe. It's pretty. There's still some little areas screaming for something in here. But again, I think long gone are those days of packing flowers together, because they get so suffocated. And if you've noticed that when you do get flowers like that, they tend to die faster because they can't breathe, and they also can't bloom. And you want these to just have the space to, do stuff at night when we're sleeping. I think they're having conversations. Okay, I'll stop. All right. I'm going to use some of this amazing Helleborus. It is grown locally, like everything here, except for the peonies. The peonies are not grown locally. I think these come from Oregon. I'm going to add some of the Helleborus in. The Helleborus is sort of this, it's a flower for sure, but it's also, it sort of looks like a greenery. So I don't feel like I need to put every ingredient in this arrangement, because then it'll just get a little crazy. Our nickname for those is like a fruit salad, and sometimes fruit salads can be a lot of fun, but usually we prefer it not to be a fruit salad. But see how you can kind of put these guys around the edges. These are sort of, now we're getting into like your final details. If you have a piece like this, sadly this little guy is going to go into your bathroom because it's not going to fit here. Just make sure it's going to touch water too. If you pick a stem that's a little shorter, you might really want to sort of bury it a little deeper in there. See, this one's not letting me. Okay, there we go. Okay, perfect. So we've got a little bit of Helleborus. I think the last thing we can do, we've got these roses. Hold please. Oh, I forgot about these. These roses, oh my god, I love them. They're so like antique-y and they open and they've got this heavy petal count. Oh yeah. See, sometimes I don't have a plan when I'm going into this, and then it just sort of presents itself to me. And we are so close to being there now. I'm loving the colors. They feel really natural. They don't feel too, artificially organized. I'm also feeling like I want this to kind of brighten it up a little bit. A lot of times, this isn't white, obviously. This is more of like a very soft lavender. But you need these lighter tones in here to brighten up the entire arrangement without making it all feel like it's the same tone. Okay, so by that I mean, imagine if this arrangement was suddenly in black and white. Everything would be kind of a medium gray. You don't want to go in there. Okay, so I'm gonna pull you out. You want there to be darks, lights, and mediums. You don't want it to all be one tone. All right, you know what? I think this guy's done. I don't want to put in one more thing because I feel like it's just going to get too crowded. Sometimes you just have to call it a day. And I think that's what we just did. I think it's over. Now you can put this somewhere and just pat yourself on the back and think about how happy these guys are to be in your house. Okay, have a great one, you guys.